All right, we're back with another exciting episode. Um, yeah, it's exciting connecting with new people. My next guest, we met back. We were just actually debating it, talking about it over before we just came on, and I think it was May of 2025. So almost like 5, 6 months ago, and we finally got an opportunity to connect. I met my next guest, Mara, at the Mississauga Healing slash. I don't remember the exact title, but they're always there every year, and they were there just I believe a couple weeks ago as well too, if I remember correctly. So before I continue on with the conversation, let me just welcome my guest, Mara. Welcome to Mississauga, Keeping It Real, and having conversations. Thanks for coming on, Mara.
Thank you for having me. And
Yeah.
it was the Holistic Healing Fair.
Oh, there you
Holistic
go.
Healing Fair.
There's so many fairs I go to, and I do forget them. Are you guys usually like there most every year? I think they have it twice a year, right, Mara?
This was our first year, this past year. So it was
So
our
they
first.
had it twice, two events though, right?
Yes, we did too.
And why do you choose to attend this one in particular? Because there's a lot of healing, holistic fairs, jam slash, crystals. Is there something that stood out to you for this particular fair? Just want to pick your brain a little bit. Like why this one in particular?
Well, we were looking for a venue or a place where people are open to alternative ways of healing,
Yeah.
open and would consider energy healing, which pranic healing is. So that's why we chose.
Yeah. No, I think it's really important. Yeah. Have the right location. It was a great turnout. A lot of people coming, and you can see the newbies are always like, "Oh, what is this? Oh, what do you do? Oh, really?" Like it's so fascinating. And that's where I met you, Mara. And Mara represents Pranic Healing, and it's a worldwide organization, and they do have centers everywhere, and they also have locations right here in our great city, the Mississauga, and also in Ottawa and Ottawa West. And before we get into the whole discipline, Mara, of what pranic healing is, um, we want to get to know you. Let's start off with how did you get into all this? I mean, is this something that you're like, hey, I don't want to be a doctor, I want to be a pranic healer? Like, how did the journey start for you?
I think it's been a long journey that led me to pranic healing. I've studied different modalities, different forms of spirituality, read hundreds of books on spirituality and self help and healing, and was just on this journey of ways I could help myself and help people I love. And it took me into energy healing, and I tried a couple of modalities before pranic healing, including Reiki and doing up to my master's level in Reiki. And one day I found a book. Actually, I was sitting in a bookstore, and beside me on a table was this book called Your Hands Can Heal You. And
Mm,
I picked up this book and started reading it, and it took me on the pranic healing path. Actually, interestingly, my last Reiki class, of the Reiki master level, my Reiki teacher took out three pranic healing books and showed them to us. And I wrote down the names of these books in my notebook, and I closed my notebook, and then I forgot all about it. And at some point, I decided to take a pranic healing class, and I sat down in the class. And to be honest, I was having the feeling of, why am I here? I love Reiki. I should just be focused and stop shopping around. And but I thought I'm going to take this class because she was using some pranic healing techniques in her Reiki class, and I wanted to learn more. And I open up my notebook, and right there are written these three titles of pranic healing books, and Master Choa, who's the author. I thought, wow, okay, I've been guided here.
if we, there's that old saying, when we surrender and be present to the moment, that's where the gifts are. Most people are always racing, trying to find the next big or small thing. But when we sort of let go and surrender, it's like, oh, the answer is right there. And just listening to you sort of reminded me of that. Your guide or your teacher for Reiki, Is that someone in Mississauga, or is it sort of
No,
some?
she was in Toronto, and it's been a while. I don't actually remember her name, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she was in Toronto.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, I've done my Reiki as well too, masters, but I'm not like some flying Chinese master flying like as a master with long white hair. And no, to me, like a master to me is years of somebody who's disciplined and has so much experience. So I do find the benefits of Reiki anytime I need to sort of, after a long day, to relax and let go. I just sort of allow the Reiki just to ground me and release me. And yeah, I definitely find its benefits. My
I I
aunt.
definitely agree with you about the master thing. I don't feel comfortable even saying that. When I say it, I will do quotations in my head because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
exactly. I
it's
feel.
just so people who know Reiki understand where I
Yeah,
was on that path.
no, I totally agree. I remember years ago, I went to New Zealand, and my aunt lives in New Zealand, and maybe even this year or last year as well too. Um, she had mentioned, "Oh, you should look into pranic healing." I'm like, "What is pranic healing?" Never paid attention to it. And that's part of the reason why I was really happy to have somebody who's sort of disciplined in this area of chronic healing. And I don't really know a lot about chronic healing. And she also, my aunt, did Reiki, and then she switched over to pranic healing. I think this would be a good point, Mara. If we can get into, you mentioned that you were in Reiki and pranic healing, discipline. What was the change going from Reiki to pranic, and why? And then we'll get into what is pranic healing and the organization and the masters you represent in this discipline.
Thank you. So I could start by talking a little bit about some of the differences. So
Yeah.
in Reiki, we give the energy, and we give the energy in different hand positions on the body. So we're giving the energy. In pranic healing, we also give energy, and giving energy in pranic healing is an important part of pranic healing because when we give the energy, it accelerates the healing process of the body. But before we give the energy, we always cleanse. So we cleanse the diseased energies out of the energy body before we give the fresh, clean prana, we say in pranic healing, or fresh, clean energy. So we liken it to like if you have a sponge full of dirty water and you want to put clean water in the sponge. If you squeeze out the sponge first, it much more easily can absorb the fresh, clean water. So similarly with our energy body, when we cleanse the energy body, we're removing the excess diseased energies. And then when we give the fresh, clean energy, it can be more easily properly absorbed in the body. So that's one of the first main differences. We always cleanse before we give the energy. And healing can begin just with the cleansing alone. Just cleansing is very healing. Another way pranic healing and Reiki are different. In pranic healing, we have a big emphasis on energy hygiene. So we remove those disease energies. We need to know what to do with them. So we learn how to properly dispose of them. So they don't go back to the person we're healing, they don't go to us, and they don't stay in the room. So we learn what we call energy hygiene, to keep ourselves clean as we're doing healing. Another thing I will say is different is that we can work quite specifically in pranic healing. So if you have, let's say you have a shoulder problem, in pranic healing, we would work on the energy of the shoulder area, and we would work on the chakras that impact the shoulder. And there are several chakras that impact the shoulder. So we can work in a very localized and specific way. So we work on different parts of the body, physical body. We work on different chakras, and we can work on different systems in the body very specifically. So those are a few of the differences.
If
Um,
I can just jump in very quickly, Mara, you sort of explained that beautifully. Reiki is, it's they call, there's different terminologies depending upon which part of the world, life force, chi energy. Some even people will say prana. I think it's in Japanese. I'm not too sure. I could be incorrect. So Reiki is more of a universal energy, and it just comes to us, and then we allow that energy to go where it needs to go. But what I'm hearing, what the difference is with pranic healing, is that there's a whole process. So unlike Reiki, where there is no cleansing and we just send the energy, pranic healing is okay. Let's, like the analogy you used. Let's remove the toxins, emotional, physical, mental, whatever it is. Let's take that out and let's start with a fresh slate and then heal. And then once all that is done, how do we dispose? Or sorry, how do we? Sorry, let me backtrack. How do we dispose of the old so that way it's not affecting the person uh, that's it's been in, or the healer themselves? But let's release it to Mother Earth or whatever the case may be. Am I sort of on the right track here?
Yes, I would say you are. We have different ways of dealing with that energy we learn in our classes. Um, I would also say that in pranic healing, we use different types of different frequencies of energy, and we don't use our own energy. So we learn to access the prana from the surroundings, and it goes through us, but we're not using our own energy. So this is very important. We learn we don't deplete ourselves. We learn to access what we say air prana, ground prana, and sun prana. But
Oh,
we also use especially as we go in more advanced classes, we also access divine prana. And I think that is in some ways similar to Reiki. It's a little bit different, but we also use divine prana, which knows what to do.
yeah, no, that's I didn't know that. Yeah, in Reiki they have different symbols,
Hmm.
and
Yes,
I and what you just said, I'm like, oh wow, that's very fascinating. So you just mentioned, okay, there's air prana, earth prana, I think you said, and
yes.
there's one more. So is that dependent on who the patient slash client is, and you decide, or do you bring all three of them together, or how many there are?
They naturally come into our bodies and through our bodies.
Mm,
Anyway, so air prana is drawn into our body through breathing and through certain chakras. Ground prana naturally comes in through our feet and also certain chakras. So we're not really it's hard to explain it all at this point, but we're not really consciously saying I'm going to use air here and ground prana here. It's just that we're naturally what we're using. And some sun prana, we naturally absorb some sun prana as well.
that's amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. This sort of leads to the next question. I don't know if you've ever heard of something called body talk therapy. Body talk is, our nervous system, chakras, like every muscular skeleton, digestive. They have like a whole a paradigm that, as an example, let's say I have an earache. So they do these like tapping almost, and the patient will say, "Okay, I have an earache." So the practitioner will start asking the body for permission by first asking, "Do I have permission to sort of access?" And once the body says, "Sure," then it says, "Okay, so you have an earache. What is the earache connected to?" And then it's a lot of muscle testing. It'll say, "Oh, it's connected to your shoulder." Okay, is there like a is this connected to any other body part system? Oh, it's connected to the digestive system. Okay, is there like a generational, ancestral um, is concern or issue that's sort of the base of that problem? And it'll say yes, 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 and then they heal it. Is pranic healing also the same way, where it gets to the root of the problem, and you don't and so you're not asking me questions? Is your hands just guided over my head? Like, how do you know that the root of the problem is gone? Do you sense it and feel it through pranic healing?
This is a good question. So part of pranic healing is we learn how to scan the energy for imbalances, and then we remove the imbalances. So this is part of the cleansing is removing the imbalances and energizing, which is restoring depleted energies. So we are feeling the energy body for the imbalances, the energy body and the chakras. Um, Also, I would say in response to what you said, yes, it's good to know the cause at times. We do look for the cause, but we look in a sometimes in a little bit of a different way in that we're scanning for the imbalances. Um, but also in pranic psychotherapy, so we have three levels in pranic healing. Level one is our foundational level where we're learning the foundational techniques. In level two, we use those same techniques and we learn different frequencies of energy. Some might say colors, but really they're different frequencies of energy we use to make the healing faster, more effective, deeper. And level three is pranic psychotherapy, where we work on the psychological. underlying causes of physical illnesses, and also with psychological and mental illnesses like addiction, depression, anxiety, things like that. But we're working on it from an energetic perspective. So if somebody had an ear problem, we would be kind of scanning for that imbalance in the ear. We'd be working on the ear chakra, the chakras that affect the ear, and it can be important to know why. But sometimes we will say, just get rid of it, like just remove those energies and get rid of it. We don't always have to know why.
Right. Very fascinating. Very fascinating. Um, Now, I guess every practitioner who comes through pranic healing, based on their own experiences and their journey, is each pranic healer practitioner, are, do they see the same energy fields? Is every pranic healer um, seeing these energy fields? Are they feeling them, like the level one that you mentioned? So, are they able to feel and see? Like, is that different from every practitioner?
Well, we don't need to see. So we learn to feel, and there are techniques that we learn and we teach people. So
Sorry, when I
to
when I meant to say see, I mean, like, do you see colors around the body? That's what I meant to say, the, like,
I
energetic part.
understand. So I just want to say that you don't need to be able to see the energies to do pranic healing. So anyone can learn, even if you don't have those kinds of abilities to see or feel the energy. And we have techniques where we teach people how to feel that energy, and with practice, you can learn to feel that energy. But not everybody feels it at first. So if you take a class, you may not be feeling it, but we still have the techniques that we do, which I'll explain a bit more about, that we have protocols in pranic healing. So we can still do those healing techniques and people still experience healing, even if you can't feel. And then over time, working with the energy, we become more sensitive and more able to feel for the imbalances. Some people can see, and sometimes that comes over time, working with energy and developing spiritually. You come to see the energy. I personally do not see the energy. Sometimes I see little bits. I'm coming to see a little bit, but I don't see, and it's not necessary to see. So I will say most people who take pranic healing do not see the energy. Most people can feel some energy when they begin and become more sensitive as they practice.
Got it. Got it. What a perfect segue to get into the schools of pranic healing. Just like, when you want to buy a house, you can buy a detached, a semi, a townhouse, maybe you want a condo. When it comes to the world of pranic healing, I'm learning a lot through this. Are there different schools of pranic healing? Is it just one master? And you know, can we sort of get into that? And this would also go wonderfully into the school that you practice with.
Mhm.
Why that school, and why not ABC as an example?
So, modern pranic healing was founded by Master Choa. So, he is the founder of modern pranic healing and Arhatic yoga, which is the spiritual branch of pranic healing. So, he is the one who brought pranic healing into the world. And since then, there have been some other things have sprung up that this happens with modalities. But his school of pranic healing, which is under his umbrella, the Institute for Inner Studies, which is his parent organization in Manila in the Philippines. So that's the organization that we are with. And when you take a class with under that institute, you get a certificate of attendance, and you can attend anywhere in the world that's under that umbrella. So that is his school of pranic healing. And right now in the world, there are 8 pranic healing masters who train directly under him. He is no longer in the body; he has left the body. But these 8 masters are in all different parts of the world, sort of responsible for different parts of the world, and they teach the higher courses.
Got it.
And he has written books, by the way. I'll just say that the one important thing about pranic healing is that the books are written by the founder, and he's written, I think, something like 30 books.
Wow.
Um, yes, on pranic healing and spirituality, and they've been translated into many languages. And so we have the books written by the author, the energy of the founder, and the Grand Master Choa. And one important thing about the books is that they contain protocols. They're like recipes for healing. So once you take a class and you learn the foundation, the basic techniques in pranic healing, you then have this almost cookbook, energy healing cookbook, where let's say you want to do healing on someone who has a headache. You open up to the headache protocol and it gives you step-by-step instructions for what areas of the body to work on, which chakras to work on that can impact having a headache, and many other things: asthma, flu, cold, stress, all different sprains, um, all different kinds of illnesses and issues you have protocols for.
Got it. Got it. So originally from the Filipinas, the master. Back in the days, I don't know if you remember, there used to be, before COVID, 10 years plus, there used to be something called the Living Life Expo at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. This was before they had these mini fairs and festivals where I met you, Mara. And it would take place in November and March, if I think it was called the Health Expo or something like that. And there would be vendors, hundreds of vendors, and totally holistic in healing. And I'm just trying to remember, did this master ever come to Toronto? Because for some reason, I feel, I think like years ago, I don't know when he passed away. Do you know if he's ever come to these the holistic or the expos in Toronto? I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about. This is way like before COVID. When did the master pass away? If you don't mind me
He
asking.
passed in 2006, I
Oh,
believe.
okay. Well, you know what? Okay. Yeah, 2006. Okay, got it. Got it. Got it. So that said, you're saying that underneath his tutelage, there are 6 or 8 masters. Did you say?
There are eight masters in the world currently.
Training is now done through them.
So they teach the higher courses, and then there are instructors. So there are level one instructors. I'm a level one instructor. Then there's level two, level three, pranic crystal healing, all the
Oh,
way. And there are many different pranic healing courses. Then different people teach them. So my instructor is a senior instructor and a senior certified pranic healer. Ansi Halim is with the Ontario Centre for Pranic Healing. She teaches some of those higher courses, level two, three, crystal healing, and some other courses. But there's um, the healing path and pranic healing. There's sort of a the spiritual path or Hatha yoga path, and then there's a kind of manifestation, success, abundance, prosperity, which includes spiritual business management, pranic feng shui, and Kriya Shakti, which is a course on manifestation and abundance and prosperity from an energetic perspective. So that course, Kriya Shakti, is taught by Master Nona, who's the master pranic healer for Canada, for example.
wow. When this practice discipline with this school, pranic healing, when it first started, was it more pronounced and more defined just in pranic healing? Because I'm hearing you say, well, they sort of have expanded. So there's crystal, you talk about psychotherapy. Is this just an advancement in the growth of the healing school and what's being downloaded to these masters? And they're like, okay, we can now include this type of skill set with the crystals or feng shui.
All of this that I've spoken of was all developed by Master Choa. So
Wow.
he was incredible. He did so much in his life, um, and so the masters who trained under him are teaching his teachings
Mm.
basically.
What is the story behind the master? How was he gifted with this? What were there downloads? So putting you on the spot here. Was it
That's
download?
okay.
Yeah.
I'll answer the best I can. So I will say pranic healing is a synthesis. So Master Choa started on his own spiritual path. He became a yogi in his teens. He was studying esoteric studies and spiritual studies from a very young age for many years. And through his studies, he took different parts of different modalities from different spiritual paths, even things in religion, and he brought them together in pranic healing, and he validated the teachings. So he formulated it and then he validated it. He would test pranic healing, and then he had some clairvoyants who would validate the teachings and techniques. And he also did receive teachings from his teacher, who was Lord Mahaguruji Meiling, who is his teacher, who is not in body. So he received some advanced techniques through Lord Mahaguruji Meiling, and he also synthesized a lot of existing information. But he did what we say is remove the superstitious nonsense. So there are a lot of things that we do, we practice, we don't know why we're practicing them. Let's say in religion, there are some things that don't really make sense, but they're part of religion. And then there are some parts of religion that actually have a positive energetic impact on us and are good to practice. So after he studied these things, he actually also created some courses based on religion, like Inner Hinduism Revealed, Inner Buddhism Revealed, Inner Christianity Revealed,
Hmm.
where um, what's taught is the parts of those religions that actually have a beneficial, positive impact on our life, on our body, on every aspect of our life.
That is amazing. So studious to sort of look at world religions and say the inner wisdom of Hinduism or Buddhism, as you mentioned, Christianity. That's amazing. The practitioners who sort of are involved with this school in particular, um, is it all people of all different race, colors? Is it Asians? Is it like, I mean, all open to all backgrounds? And if you don't speak English, do they teach it in different languages? Are you aware of that?
Definitely. Pranic healing is non denominational. I like to say it's multi denominational because it really does synthesize from different religions and cultures, backgrounds. You know, it uses what works, right? And we definitely see all different people from all different backgrounds and cultures in our classes. And yes, in fact, I did a class about a week and a half ago, and someone's translating in the background into Chinese for someone who was there. So sometimes classes are translated. Even we have online meditations, and Master Nona, the master for Canada, she does for Canada and South America. And there's 4 or 5 people translating what she's saying into different languages. So it's very common. And because we're offering it all over the world, his books are in many different languages as well.
Wow, so fascinating. We live in a world right now, Mara, where the guests, many of the guests that I have that I've been talking to within the last 2 3 years, we're going through the spiritual war right now. Good versus evil. Left versus right. You can call it whatever you want. And people are looking for answers. People want answers. They feel that there's something missing. There has to be another possible answer. Or they start to do a lot of reflecting and say, this is not who I want to be. Are you finding that a lot more people are more open to alternative healing and pranic healing in this case?
Yes, I will say definitely. I do think that. I think people are looking for something and looking for something that works, something they can feel good about, feel connected to. Interestingly, my teacher, Ansi Halim, or my instructor, Ansi Halim, will say that when she started teaching, 25 years ago, not many people could feel the energy, like when we start to work with the energy. And now most people can feel. So there has been an evolution. We are evolving and becoming more aware of those things. Yes, and I do think people are looking and are realizing that the material part of the world, it doesn't bring fulfillment. Although in pranic healing, we are also very much about our financial health. So I feel sometimes when people are on the spiritual path, they don't see money as being good. And we are about money in the hands of good people is good. So we actually, from level 1, are talking about how to have more prosperity in our lives, so and so that we can give more and be better members of society, better able to contribute.
Which I think is such a fascinating point that you rise, Mara, because I remember taking these classes 10 years plus, and I've been grown up and fed that, if somebody's true to the purpose of what they're doing, healing, that it's a gift from God, that you shouldn't be charging anything, all these different mindsets, these belief systems. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, if somebody has been gifted with healing, in this case, why are they charging? Like, they should be more than happy to sort of share. And then I even asked this years ago, this teacher, and he said it wonderfully. He goes, at the end of the day, I also need to survive. I need to put food on the table. But the part that got to me, he said, it's an energetic exchange. It's an agreement that you are rendering the services that I'm going to provide you in exchange for money in this case. And I go, you know what? That makes sense. That totally makes sense. So I love how you had mentioned that this school, right from day one or level one, talks about the importance, because those who get into this arena, they're like, oh, I can't make money, or there's block issues. Is this something that you had to work through yourself and clear? And yeah.
Yes, I will say yes. I will say part of my pranic healing journey I've been on for about 6 years now has been an improvement in my finances and has been wanting to be more prosperous so that I can give more and so that I can have a better life and be a better instrument of healing and instructing. So definitely, and that was new to me. I think I was more on that path of um, maybe feeling a bit uneasy about money, and I've come to appreciate it more and appreciate that it is how we exchange energy in this world, and it's part of our life in this world, and it's how we support our family and um, help each other.
Who doesn't want money at the end of the day? Like, we do need to survive. We need to put food on the table, right? And those, like, conversations that you just shared and I'm having with you, yeah, people, there's all this stigma around money. And I love the fact how the school actually sort of shares insights into this matter, because we need to put food on the table. We do.
Yes, and hopefully even more than just worrying about putting food on the table. Hopefully we can be beyond that and be able to be helping other people put food on the table
It's true.
too.
And then I'm going back to, like, before we help anybody else, we got to fill our own bucket, right?
Absolutely.
If we don't fill our bucket, and that could be emotionally, psychologically, physically, mentally, sexually, financially, we can't help anybody. We can't,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So let's move on to the next part. So, how does the whole process work? So, let's say there's a client that comes and sees you for the first time, Myra.
Hmm.
Is it just one session and their problem is fixed? Is there a questionnaire? Is there talk therapy? Can you take us through this whole process of when somebody comes in through wanting to get in like this trainment of pranic healing? What's the process like?
So if they want to receive healing, at least on our website, we have a page of practitioners. So people who have gone through our certification process to be a certified or associate pranic healer. So um, in level one, you learn the foundations, and you can do healing for your friends or your family or yourself. We actually teach a lot about self healing, so there's lots more to talk about here. Um, and uh, if you want to receive a healing, then you can receive one from a certified healer. And we start by talking to someone. We talk to the person. We ask about their symptoms, how long they've had their symptoms, are they seeing a doctor? Are they receiving medication? Pranic healing works very much in conjunction with receiving medical treatment. So we tell people, don't stop your medical treatment, continue to be monitored by your doctor. Sometimes people are able to reduce their medications and even come off medications over time under the supervision of a doctor. But that's part of us understanding what they need treatment for. And so then when we know what their condition is, there is quite often a protocol for the condition. Let's say somebody comes to see me and they have arthritis. There's a protocol for arthritis. I will look at that as sort of the basis for my healing, but I will also feel the energy body for all the imbalances in the energy body. So I will do the protocol. Sometimes I'll modify that based on what I'm um, feeling or discovering through my assessment. And there could be emotional underlying issues I would be working on as well. And then in terms of frequency, it depends. Some things can be very fast. Like some things are one healing and people are healed, especially a simple thing like a headache or stomach ache or digestive issues. Sometimes they can be very quickly healed, one or two healings. Some things need more frequency and a longer period of time if they've had more time to manifest in the body, materialize in the body, and they've been there longer. And depending on the condition of the person, different factors could determine how long they need to receive treatment. And not everything can be healed. Sometimes we're helping people to manage symptoms with certain illnesses, and some things with proper frequency, we are able to heal. We've had success with cancer. Many different serious illnesses can be healed, and some things are their symptoms are relieved.
I know that's amazing. I think that's what people want at the end, just to have a relief of their symptoms and possibly get to the root of what the element or the concern is. As you were just talking, one thought that came up in my mind, Mara, was what surprised you? You said you've been doing this for the last 6 years, if I remember correctly, right? 6 years, you said?
Mhm.
What surprised you about this modality from when you started to where you are today? What surprised you the most about pranic healing?
Hmm. I guess when I started, I wasn't expecting to find a spiritual path and a deeper understanding of spirituality. I thought I was on an energy healing path, and they're so interrelated. Um, I would also say I was surprised about the financial aspect, surprised how it's touched all aspects of my life, really. And that um, when our energy is healthy, when our body is healthy and balanced, our chakras, our energy is healthy and balanced, that every part of our lives improves. So my relationships have improved, like lifelong difficult relationships have improved. My finances have improved. My physical, emotional, mental health have all improved. So I would say there have been lots of surprises in that I thought I was, um, yes, I was going just to work on healing some of my own physical issues. I've had chronic migraines for many, many years. And that was a big part of my journey of wanting to heal and look for alternative ways of healing that. And that over time has been progressively better and better. I actually have not had a migraine in over a year now, which is incredible because I've been having them for about 25 years. So quite amazing. Yeah, I hope that answers your
No,
question.
it does.
Any
Absolutely.
surprises?
Yeah. You know, there are a lot of people who come in to get healing, and sometimes it's very dark. Maybe the person is somehow possessed, or they have some negative entities. In some world religions, they'll call it black magic. Does pranic healing address any of these? And if they do, share. Have you experienced, maybe through your clientele or through your studies, where you meet certain individuals, they may not even know they have these negative energies, Is this something that this school of pranic healing address, and have you have any experience with that?
I will say yes, it is something we address, especially in pranic psychotherapy. We learn about these different kinds of energies, entities. You say sort of different things. We learn how to remove and work with that type of thing. We also teach a course called Psychic Self Defense, where we learn about how to protect ourselves energetically.
Mm,
And yeah, and we learn about some of these different energies that you're talking about. And really, we learn that we're an open system. We have this energy body around us, but it's an open system. So it's like if you go into a room and someone's smoking, you're going to smell like smoke, right? We're out there in the world, you know, kind of in each other's auras, rubbing auras with each other. So In pranic healing, we learn how to cleanse our own energy body of these things, and even more challenging things like you're talking about. Yes, we do learn to work with those things, and part of it's receiving healing. Part of one of the things we really recommend and we practice in pranic healing is a meditation called the Twin Heart Meditation.
Mm.
And this meditation we all practice in pranic healing, and we recommend our clients practice. People when we take they take the class level one, we do this meditation. And the meditation on twin hearts. Can I talk a little bit
Oh
just
yeah,
before?
absolutely. Yeah, go
So
for
in this meditation, it's called Meditation on Twin Hearts for Peace and Illumination. So this in this meditation, it's a step-by-step guided technique by Master Choa, and in it we start by activating our heart chakra, and we activate our crown chakra. And actually, the heart chakra is like the key to the crown chakra. There's actually a replica of the heart chakra in the crown chakra. And in order to open the crown, which many of us on the spiritual path know we won't need to open our crown for spiritual development, you actually need to be able to activate and open your heart chakra first. It's
it.
just like, how can you have love, universal love for all, if you don't have love for your loved ones, right? Or even yourself.
Yeah.
So in this meditation, we activate our heart chakra, we activate our crown chakra, and then we receive a downpour of divine energy. And we use this energy to bless the earth with peace and loving kindness. And we do the prayer. Part of the meditation is doing the prayer of St. Francis, which is a prayer of giving and receiving. So we say, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there's hatred, let me sow love. Where there's injury, pardon. But we are actually putting that prayer in practice and action by projecting these loving energies to the earth. And as we become this channel of blessing, we are cleansed. It's like receiving a spiritual shower of divine energy passing through us, and we are healed on all levels. We are healed physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, and it's those energies you're talking about. It's very helpful because it's cleansing the negativity from our energy body, and like attracts like, as we have more love and more peace in our energy body, we attract more of that. And then when we go out into the world, like when you're going into the smoky or negative room, you're bringing your positive, more loving energy into the room. So it's another aspect of the meditation, and it's only about a 20-minute meditation, and we have online groups. People come and practice together.
No,
So
that's beautiful. That said, are you doing this meditation between clients that you see also, so that? But you, I think you had already mentioned that you're not absorbing; you're actually dispensing the energy. And I think I just answered my own question. When you are doing this twin heart meditation and the blessings of Saint Francis, I think you had mentioned.
mhm.
Do you feel the energy like as it comes down, like as you said, as a showering of peace and harmony? Do you feel that, like?
I do feel. I mean, I feel my heart activate, my crown activate. I do feel the energy coming down, passing through. Maybe not even every time. It's different days I feel it differently, and maybe not in the beginning. But yes, I do feel a lot of energy, and I feel after I do the meditation, I feel lighter, more positive, happier. And when I practice it regularly, definitely my life improves. My relationships have improved. We at the end of the meditation, we often bless our loved ones, our friends, our family, maybe the people we're having trouble with. We bless, and that really is healing for our relationships with other people as well.
Yeah, that's what I find when you go on this path, right? And I like what you said. How can we support, heal everyone else when our own heart is closed? So when one goes on this journey, they have to go through the dark night of the soul almost just to clear, let go, open. Even doesn't matter what form of healing you do, Reiki, pranic, call it ABC, fill in the blanks, whatever you want. You have to clean from the inside out. So like the sponge analogy you gave, Mara, right? So and sometimes it's not easy for a lot of people, right? There's a lot of release that's taking place, and it could be an emotional release, a physical healing symptoms. I mean, whatever needs to happen, a person will go through that process, and that's the beauty. And as they continue to stay on this path, like you said, they get lighter, more divine connection. You start to fill up your own cup. You're connecting with people now, bringing new energies. Like starts to attract like. It's just amazing.
Yes, beautiful. Yes, and I'll say what you're saying is true. Definitely, it's true. And we do have to release a lot and go through what you're saying for some of us, that sort of dark night. And also, I find we also can help ourselves in that. For me, that's pranic healing, in that we're able to remove some of those things so we don't have to stew in it for as long. Maybe I'm feeling it and I know, oh, I'm feeling this. I am able to cleanse it out of my energy body more quickly than feeling it all. Not to say we shouldn't feel it, some of it. It's good to feel and process. And then sometimes I feel, okay, I felt and processed that one enough. I know what that is. I know what that feels like. Time for me to just release it, and I can do that quickly and effectively.
You say something very interesting, simply and effectively. I remember reading a book years ago. It was called the Sedona Method. And I don't know if you've read that book or not. And this was on my early days of just going through the process of healing and letting go. I would hold on to a lot of emotions and angers and so forth. And I forgot the name of the author, but it was his life story. He was a lawyer. Long story short, I'm sorry. They tell him that you have some type of cancer. You got a year to live. Get your arrangements all settled. And he goes, you know what? Forget all this. I'm out of here. So he goes, and then through self reflection and this, he just created this whole healing process. And I remember one thing that wrote down is that, most of us, and it's true for me in the beginning, and it's much less now. He's like, when we hold on to our emotions, it's like holding on to a pencil. Like, and I have a pencil in my hand, a pen, and our emotions is this pencil, and what we are doing is we're holding on to that pencil, and in this case I have the pencil in my fist, because for whatever reason we're choosing to hold on to it. But the simplest thing is to let go. And that letting go is so hard, because we have this rage, we have this emotional, like, they did this, why, she, he, blah blah. You want to blame it, and it's like I'm fueling my own toxins, like I'm like emotional toxins. And I remember doing this exercise, Mar, and I couldn't let go of this pencil in my hand. I would think of a situation, I'm like, oh my god. But then the more you sort of go through this practice, I was like, oh my God, I'm letting go. I'm letting go. And connecting with what you're saying, I think this is the beauty of this pranic healing, is sort of letting go, no need to hold on to it anymore.
Definitely. I mean, and everything is energy.
Yeah,
So those things you're feeling, they're just energies in the energy body, and you can just remove them
I know.
and get rid of them.
No, it's so interesting that you said, because years ago I wanted to hold on to them. It was like, no, it's just like this, oh, I just, but then it was my own, I don't know, my ego, my own not knowing the whole process. And it doesn't matter which path you take to better yourself. It could be through pranic healing, Reiki. Once you start that journey, you go through everything, and it's beautiful. It really is. You mentioned a little bit about some of the success stories. Have you worked, like, is there one that really stands out for yourself? Somebody that you worked with and supported them on their healing, and they've sort of come around and really gone from where they were to where they are now?
Hmm.
Putting you on
There
the
have been
spot.
there no, it's okay. There have been lots of things. Let me think. I sometimes I like to talk about just the little things
Yeah, go for
that,
it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Anything.
like, simpler things like, um my grandson had a bleeding diaper rash. It was so horrible, so painful. And, one day of pranic healing, it was completely gone. It was like going from actually bleeding to like him in the bath and healed. Um, like, I had a friend who had diarrhea for 10 days. And I did the protocol for diarrhea. And even that protocol will say it's often relieved in 1 or 2 sessions. One session, it was gone. So it's amazing to be able to just, with my own two hands, just to be able to offer healing to people I love. I went on a cruise with my mother and sister a couple of years ago, and we were on a walking tour, and something happened to my sister's foot and she couldn't walk. So we're on a walking tour and she's hopping on one foot. And I just started doing healing on her foot. as we're walking, and she says, "You're doing healing on me. It's getting better. Keep going." And
That's why they
it
keep
went.
inviting you to these trips because if
Oh
anything
yes,
goes
oh
wrong,
yeah.
you're there to use them.
I know I'm the first aid kit. And she's able to walk and resume with no pain. So they're beautiful stories. Even my own self. I had shingles a few years ago, and I don't know if you know anyone who's had shingles. It's very painful,
Yeah.
and it was on my eye,
Mm.
which is can be dangerous. So I had it monitored by a doctor, and I received pranic healing and by from one of my colleagues. And as soon as she did the healing, that pain and burning was gone. So I had relief from the symptoms, and she did 3 times a week for 2 weeks, and then the shingles was completely gone. And I had another friend who said that that was the shortest, easiest case of shingles she'd ever seen, and it really was amazing. We say miraculous, but not miraculous. So in pranic healing, it actually the first book is called Miracles Through Pranic Healing. But pranic healing is actually based on natural laws. And the first one being the law of self recovery is that the body has a natural ability to heal itself and recover. And the second law is the law of life energy, which states that we need energy to live, but also when we increase the energy level in the body, we accelerate that natural healing process. So things look miraculous, but we've really just accelerated the healing.
You just shared with the shingles and the eye and how your colleague said that was the shortest healing. Like, I'm just thinking, like, you were open to it. You were totally open to receiving that healing. Have you ever worked with those who come and see you where they're just very resistant and they're like, "What
Yes.
is this pranic? Like, I'd rather go here because you know I got a pill and I know I'm taking it." Like, have you ever experienced those difficult challenges where there's a
It's
lot of
very important
resistance?
what you're saying. Actually, we talk about this in class. It's it's part of our um, practice process.
Yeah.
Part of our technique is that we make sure people are receptive and we learn what to do if they're not receptive. So it's actually imperative in the healing that they're receptive. And we talk a lot about how to make sure people are receptive to our healing and what to do if they're not receptive. So yes, it's a very good point and quite necessary.
Yeah, you would have to be, right? Like, I mean, when if you go to the doctors, right, you're going there to be receptive to what they're going to tell you. And
Hmm.
they write a little prescription, you're like, yes, I got the answer to everything.
Hmm.
Why can't we just take that same idea and bring it to the world of alternative healing? Yes. But then, you meet interesting people where they maybe it's their first time experiencing something like this, and they're like, "Ooh, this sounds like woohoo to me, too much woohoo stuff." What do you mean, like energy? There's energy everywhere, right? But it's a
Yes.
progress. They have to receive.
It's our job as healers, though, to also help them to be receptive. So part of that is we learn how to do that to help them
Oh wow!
receive receive the healing. Yes, it's important.
No, it is. Yeah. In the last couple of minutes that we have here, time just flew by, Mara. Let's sort of is there anything that I forgot to ask you, Mara, that you want to bring up now about the pranic healing? We talked about the locations. There's one in Mississauga, and there's one in Ottawa. I'm just on the website right now, just taking a look at that. And you also talked about the Twin Hearts meditation, which you can also find on the website. And we talked about the original founder, Grandmaster Choi Koksu. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct. Is there any questions that I didn't ask? And this would be a good time to sort of address those.
I guess one thing I will mention is that we have a big emphasis on self-healing.
Mm,
So, and we also teach distant healing. So when you take
I was
level,
going to ask you. You answered my question. You read
yes, when you take level one, we practice in class. So in class, you do healing with other people. So we watch you do healing with a partner, and to help make sure your technique is good, that you'll be able to do healing after you leave the class. And then usually day two, we have more emphasis on self healing because we're the instrument of healing, and so the instrument needs to be able to work well. And also, it's just a way we look after ourselves. We take care of ourselves, so we do healing for ourselves. And we also do distant healing, which is amazing. And you talk about people being receptive. Sometimes we need to start in person, depends on the person. But we do a lot of our healing distantly, and it's just as effective. It was amazing during COVID. We were all super busy during COVID doing healing for other people. But it's something that we teach as well. And it's amazing for people who have family, maybe living in another part of the world. They want to be able to help their family. They can do that. So yes, so I just wanted to mention those two things, that those are important
And
components.
thanks for sharing that. I completely forgot about that. It was in my thoughts, and I said I'll come back to it, but you read my thoughts. For those who don't know what distance healing is, it's more of like you connecting them through Zoom, or is it through time and space where you're like, okay, sit down, and I'm going to send you the energy. Can we just go over that a little bit?
I can't really get into the details. You have to take the class for that, but we
Oh,
do.
okay.
Yes,
Ooh, all right. We got to take.
but
How do we
we
even take
do.
the course? How do like? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. I'll just say often we start on Zoom just to help people feel more comfortable. And I like to do Zoom with people because I like to see how they're reacting and be able to just talk to them. If I find they're not being receptive to me, I can tell
Mm.
them something to help them. I can just see how they're feeling and reacting as I'm working. So it helps them to see me as well. And I think it's good, especially the first few times I do healing with someone. And so you asked about taking a class. Was that your next question? How do people?
I don't remember. No, I was asking about. Oh yeah, if those who are interested, how do they find more information? The website or to connect with you? Yeah.
So you can go to our website, pranichealingontario.ca,
Mm.
and we have our courses are listed there. We offer regular introductions, usually every few weeks, 2-3 weeks or so. We have an online free introduction to pranic healing. Also, we offer a few different twin heart meditation groups in the week, which you can see under our meditations. And under classes, you can see people can start with level one. Level one is the foundational class where you learn the basic techniques, tools, and techniques. We learn about the energy body, the anatomy of the energy body, chakras, the function of the chakras. They control parts of the body, the systems of the body. We work with the chakras very practically, actually, and just 2 full days of instruction and practice. So if anyone's interested in taking a course, you find more information on our website.
And I will let our listeners know that I will add all that to the show notes, like the sites that you had mentioned, so that way it's an easy access or just a link click. Mara, I enjoyed the 5 6 months wait. We finally had you on, and our times were able to sort of come together. Like attracts like, and it was great. I didn't know too much about pranic healing. Like I mentioned to you, my aunt did it, like who lives in New Zealand. But you did a wonderful job explaining it. So thanks for really coming on and sharing this wonderful modality. Really, like I think our listeners will definitely appreciate it. And you did an amazing job sharing everything today.
Well, thank you so much. It helped to have a good interviewer.
Oh, I appreciate that. All right, Mara, enjoy. We'll definitely connect again. So all the best to you.
Thanks. You too.